Hello everyone, welcome back to our UTAP and welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss the three proposals that has been informed by the RBI's Governor Shri Shaktikanta Das that are very important from the exams point of view. So I hope you all must have heard about the statement on developmental and regulatory policies that was released on 6th April 2023. Okay, so this is a very important statement on developmental and regulatory policies that was released after the Monetary Policy Committee meeting on the same day as the MPC meeting ended. So now this is a very important statement in which there were many important proposals that were discussed, and from those proposals we are going to discuss the three very important proposals in today's session that are very important from the exams point of view. The first proposal is regarding the centralized portal of the Reserve Bank of India, that is PRAVA. Okay, so this has a full form and that can be directly asked in the phase 1 and phase 2 of the examination. So this is very important from the examination point of view, from the objective point of view. Now the second proposal is regarding the UPI, Unified Payment Interface, to now allow borrowers to access the digital credit lines. Okay, so first of all, what is this credit lines, how it is going to boost UPI, how it is going to affect UPI and the customers? So all of this we are going to discuss in today's session, and this is very important from the descriptive answer writing point of view, because here you will get a direct point that how UPI is going to get boosted. Okay, so now the third proposal is regarding the customers to receive compensation. So there is the proposal by the Reserve Bank of India, by the Monetary Policy Committee, regarding the credit information companies, okay, to improve their grievance redressal mechanism. So how is going to work? What is the proposal? All of this we are going to discuss in today's session, and from here a direct question can come in the objective part of the examination of any regulatory body's exam. Okay, so let's discuss these three very important proposals. But before starting with this, there is a big announcement from EduTap that we have brought for you the comprehensive guidebook for RBI, NABARD and SEBI, so that through a single guidebook you can get all your common queries answered. If you want to know about the examination, what is the pattern of the exam, what is the syllabus for the exam, what are the previous year cutoff for the exam, all your common queries can be answered through a single guidebook. You do not have to visit different links, different websites. Okay, and even if you want to know about the organization, even if you want to know about the preparation, the sources and the strategy for the preparation, all these information is provided in this single guidebook. And let me tell you that this is made absolutely free of cost to save your time, to save your efforts, and you can easily download this guidebook. The link is provided in the description box below. So do download this guidebook. Okay, so now coming to our today's first proposal, that is regarding the RBI to launch the PRAVA. Okay, to launch PRAVA to speed up the approvals for entities. So first of all, the PRAVA has what full form? Okay, so the full form of PRAVA is Platform for Regulatory Application, Validation and Authorization. So I hope all of you know that the Reserve Bank of India is at the apex of the monetary system, and the RBI monitors and regulates the banks. It monitors and regulates the credit information companies and many NBFCs, okay, non-banking financial companies. So these are the regulated entities under the Reserve Bank of India, and the Reserve Bank of India is the regulator of these entities. Now these entities, now this platform, this PRAVA is a platform. Okay, it will be a platform for the regulatory application. If any regulated entity has to take the application, okay, it has to fill the application, it has to open something up, so it has to fill the application. So this application can be filled through this portal. If the regulated entities has to take any validation, any approval, so that can also be done through this platform, through this PRAVA. And if the regulated entities has to take any authorization, that can also be done through this centralized portal, and that's why this is the platform for regulatory application, validation and authorization, so that through a single portal all of these functions can be performed by the regulated entities. Okay, so this is a secured, this platform, that is PRAVA now, that will be launched by the RBI soon. So this is a secured web-based centralized portal, a single portal we can say, which will gradually extend to all types of applications made to RBI, that is applications that is sent to RBI across all the functions, for all the functions. So I hope you have understood the basic point of bringing this Prava in the future. Okay, that we want to create, the RBI want to create a web-based centralized portal for all these kind of functions, for the validation, for the regulated entities to take the authorizations, for the regulated entities or any kind of company, business to make the application. For this there will be a single portal, a centralized portal, various entities. So why this kind of centralized portal is needed? Okay, so various entities, that are the regulated entities or any kind of other businesses that want to establish their bank, that want to establish some kind of business of their own under the monetary system of our country. So the regulated entities and such kind of other entities are required to obtain license. So there are the banking license, there are the NBFC license, there are the account aggregator license, and there are the payment aggregator license. So such kind of licenses has to be obtained from the RBI. Authorization has to be taken from the RBI if we want to expand our business in the banking segment, in the NBFC segment, to carry out different activities that are regulated under Reserve Bank of India. Further, regulated entities are required to seek certain regulatory approvals, that we want to do this kind of activity. Now we want to open a digital banking unit. Okay, so regulatory approvals has to be taken from RBI under the various statutes and the regulations periodically. So to obtain the license, authorization, approvals, so there are the different application and approval procedures. So there are the different procedures, that has to be done. For the same, it can take place online or through the offline modes. So you can understand that for each and everything we can say there is some different kind of procedure, there is some different kind of process, and that can be very tricky to understand, that can be very hard to remember. So the union budget of for 2023-24 has announced. In this union budget there was the announcement that was made that there is a need to simplify, ease and reduce cost of compliance by the financial sector regulators. Okay, so the financial sector regulators have to come forward and they have to make the process easier for the regulated entities, so that the compliance by the regulated entities can become easier for the rules and regulations that they have to follow within laid down time limits. So there should be the laid down time limits also to decide the applications under various regulations. Okay, so that everything can become very smooth, simplified. The regulated entities will not have to worry about different procedures, processes. So for that, now it will be developed. Now what will be developed with the Prava, that is PRAVAAH, okay, will be developed to enable entities to apply for license or authorization or regulatory approvals from the Reserve Bank. So this single centralized portal will be developed so that any kind of validation, any kind of application, any kind of authorization that has to be done can be done through this centralized portal. This will simplify and streamline the current system. A single portal, a centralized portal is coming for the simplification and streamlining the whole process. Okay. So the governor informed that the portal will show time limits for deciding on the applications approvals sought. This measure will bring greater efficiency into the regulatory processes and facilitate the ease of doing business for the regulated entities, for the banks, for the NBFCs, for the credit information companies. The ease of doing business will come because for them the validation, application, authorization will become easier. At least they can access a single portal through which they can access all of these kind of processes, all of these kind of functions. For the regulated entities, there will be the ease of doing business that are under the Reserve Bank of India, because the Reserve Bank of India will be bringing this centralized portal. So this is the first proposal that has been made. Here you have to remember this full form, and because it can be very tricky in the exam, and why this Prava has been brought. Okay, so what is the aim of this? The aim is to develop such kind of portal that will bring the ease of doing business for the regulated entities, that can make the whole procedures for these very easy for the validation, application and authorization. So remember the aim also. Now coming to the second proposal, grievance redress mechanism relating to the credit information reporting by the credit institutions and the credit information provided by credit information companies. Now this seems very confusing, okay, but it is very easy once you understand it. So let me break it down. So grievance redressal mechanism, I hope all of you have heard about this mechanism, that your complaints are redressed. Okay, so if you have any complaint against the banks and the banks are not listening to those complaints, you can go to some different mechanism, that is the alternative grievance redressal mechanism of the Reserve Bank of India relating to the credit information reporting. So all the credit institutions, the banks, the NBFCs that are providing the credit, so those are the credit institutions. So they have to report the credit information, okay, that this person, this individual has taken this much credit and this person is paying back the interest on time. This business has taken this much of the credit and the business is paying on time. So the credit information reporting has to be done by the credit institutions, that are the banks, NBFCs and such. Credit information are provided, the reporting has to be done to the credit information companies that collect the credit information, that collect and analyze the credit information to take out the credit score, that okay, this individual is very good, he has a very high, he should have a very high credit score because he has taken the credit, he has repaid the credit on time, he has done the interest payments also on time. So this is the collection of the credit information that is done by the CICs, credit information companies, and the analyze. So let's understand this further. So the CICs were recently, the credit information companies were recently brought under the purview of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme was launched on November 12, 2021. It combines the three ombudsman schemes of Reserve Bank of India, that is the banking ombudsman scheme, the ombudsman scheme for the NBFCs, and the ombudsman scheme for the digital transactions. So these three ombudsman schemes are combined together and they combined have formed the integrated ombudsman scheme. These schemes had limited and different grounds, and due to which they have been combined into the integrated ombudsman scheme. So a Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme of 2021 provides for cost-free redress of customer complaints. So grievance redressal mechanism means if you have the complaint against the bank and the bank is not listening to that complaint, so you can go to this Integrated Ombudsman Scheme to get your grievance redressed, to get your complaint addressed, okay, involving the deficiency in the services. So the bank is not providing the services particularly or something like that, any complaint you can go and do to the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme by entities regulated by the RBI if not resolved to the satisfaction of the customers or not replied to within a period of 30 days by the regulated entity. That is, the bank is not addressing your complaint under 30 days. Then you can go to the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, okay. So now in addition to integrating the three existing schemes, there are the credit information companies also that have been involved, that have come under the ambit of this Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So that's why the CICs were recently brought under the purview of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So the credit information companies are all the credit bureaus, are organizations that collect, analyze and maintain the credit data that is coming from the credit institutions that are providing the credit. So they collect all the credit data on borrowers, businesses and organizations. CICs generate credit scores and reports related to the borrowers in the country, okay. Now what is the change? So we have discussed, okay, about the credit information companies, that they have been brought under the purview of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, okay. So if they are not addressing to the complaint of the customer or the borrower under 30 days, that means the borrower can go to this scheme and it will be addressed by the Reserve Bank of India under this scheme, okay. So in addition, the governor announced, so other than bringing this CIC under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, now in the current period, in the current statement on developmental and regulatory policies, the governor has announced that it is proposed to put in place the following measures also for the credit information companies grievance redressal mechanism, okay. That is a compensation mechanism for delayed updation or rectification of credit information. So if the credit information companies are delaying the updation or rectification of credit information regarding any of the borrower, regarding any of the business, then the compensation has to be provided to the borrower, to the business, because the borrower is losing the credit that it could have got, okay. So there is not the particular update or the rectification that has happened in the credit information by the CIC, then it will have to provide the compensation, okay. A provision for SMS or email alerts to customers when their credit information are accessed from the credit information companies. A time frame, a particular timeline has to be provided for ingestion of the data, for the understanding of the data, for the processing of the data that is received by the credit information companies from the credit institutions, the banks, NBFCs and such. Disclosure relating to number and nature of customer complaints has to be done on the website of the CICs. So the CICs has to address the complaints if they are not addressing the complaints under the 30 days of the raising of the complaint by the customer, then the complaint will go to the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. Okay, that process I hope you all know now. These measures will further enhance the consumer protection, said the Reserve Bank of India's governor. The RBI has proposed to improve the grievance redressal mechanism for the borrowers through these additional measures. So I hope you have understood that in the current statement it has been said that these are the 4 measures, additional measures that will improve the grievance redressal mechanism for the borrowers. Okay. Now coming to the third news article and the third proposal, operation of pre-sanctioned credit lines at banks through the UPI. So the RBI has proposed to expand the reach of the popular UPI digital payment system by allowing the credit through the UPI to be offered via pre-approved bank links. Okay, so what is going to happen, that there are the pre-sanctioned credit line. There is the pre-sanctioned credit line from the banks, means pre-approved credit that will be provided through the bank, which is essentially credit. So this is what happens currently, that the line of credit or the credit line is a flexible loan from a bank or financial institution. This is similar to the credit card with a set credit limit. So the bank has said that you can take this is the 1 lakh is the pre-approved credit line. Okay, so that is you can take out this much amount from the bank, or you can take this much amount for any kind of payment that you are doing. Okay, so this will be a kind of loan. Now if you want 20,000, you can take out 20,000. Only in this amount the interest will be levied. So borrow amount pays interest only on the amount borrowed. So instead of 1 lakh of the borrowing, the customer has only taken 20,000, so he will only pay interest on this. So the pre-sanctioned credit line is kind of pre-approved credit, which is essentially credit that the banks approve for customers based on the analyzing of internal data. And this is the flexible loan. So they have given you the limit that you can take the loan of up to 1 lakh, but you are taking only the loan, or you are taking out the amount, you are taking the cash, or you are paying to someone else the extra 20,000 only. On that only you have to pay the interest and pay back the principal. Okay, so as with a loan, you will pay interest using a line of credit. Borrowers must be approved by the bank, so they must be pre-approved, which considers the credit rating and such kind of data. Okay, so here now what will happen with the UPI, you have understood the credit line. Okay, credit line means this is the pre-approved. We are talking about the pre-approved credit line. So this is a amount that has been designated by the bank that can be taken out by the customer. Okay, so the customer has to pay only that much interest on the amount that he has actually taken out rather than on the limit. So it is now proposed to expand the scope of UPI by enabling the transfer to or from the pre-sanctioned credit lines at the banks. So you can take out the money from the credit line, from the credit limit through the UPI. Okay, in addition to deposit accounts. So individuals that have the pre-approved credit line from the banks will soon be able to use it to make payments over the UPI. So you have to make the payment of 50,000, but you have only 20,000 in your deposit account. So this 30,000 extra, you know that you have the limit of 1 lakh from the bank. This is the pre-approved credit line. So you will take out this 30,000 that is not actually in your deposit account, but you are taking out this 30,000 extra as the loan from the bank because this is pre-approved credit line. So now you will have, later on you will have to pay back this 30,000 as well as the interest on only this 30,000 rather than any kind of interest on 1 lakh. Okay, so this is the limit only. This is the limit only. Okay, so no interest has to be paid on that. The interest has only to be paid on the amount that you are actually borrowing, you are actually taking out. So you can make the payment of 50,000 even though you have only 20,000 in your bank account. So this is what the UPI is doing now. Individuals with pre-approved credit line from the bank will soon be able to use it through the UPI setting, okay, to make the payments. The stage for new credit products over the homegrown payments platform. So this is the homegrown payments platform, and the UPI will now be providing the new credit product to the customers. In other words, so let me clear this off. In other words, what is happening, that UPI network will facilitate the payments that is financed by the credit from the banks. This can reduce the cost of such offerings. Now see, if you have the credit card, you do not have you have 20,000 in your bank account, but you have to make the payment of 50,000. Okay, so that means you have to use the credit card, but you do not have the credit card. So what will you do? So now you have the credit line. You know that you have the pre-approved credit line. So what you will do, you will just scan the QR code of the merchant and you will pay through the UPI. You will pay through the UPI, because now the UPI, it has been proposed that the UPI will be able to use this pre-approved credit line. Okay, this can reduce the cost of such offerings also. How? Because now through the QR code only you are able to use the credit line. You do not need to have the credit card, and the other person, the merchant, does not need to have the POS machines to be able to use the credit cards and such. Help in the development of unique products for Indian market. So this is quite a unique product, that now if the credit, usually the credit has to be used, either you have to take out the cash only, or the credit card should be with you and the merchant should have the POS machine. But now the merchant has the UPI QR code and you have the pre-approved credit line, so you can use the UPI to make the payment through the UPI code, QR code. So banks can now mimic the credit card offerings without actually issuing a physical credit card or requiring the bulky, expensive physical acceptance infrastructure, that is the POS machines will not be required for this kind of UPI payment through the credit link. Since most of the credit cards issued by the private sector banks were on the Visa and the MasterCard, now you will say that but the credit card is actually linked to the UPI, right? But this is the RuPay credit card that is linked to the UPI. Okay, so through this also you can pay the amount 30,000 without even having that amount in your bank account. But remember this, that since most of the credit card that is issued by the private sector bank were on Visa and the MasterCard settlement system, allowance of the RuPay credit card on the UPI did not move the needle. That is, the RuPay credit card, even though it is allowed on the UPI, through the UPI you can pay the amount through the credit card, okay, through the UPI, but it was not affecting much, because the not much banks have the RuPay credit card. Okay, not much banks are issuing the RuPay credit card. So with pre-sanctioned credit lines, the private sector banks can now simplify offering the credit card like products, so through the credit line, pre-approved credit line, to anyone who has a UPI relationship with the bank. UPI currently accounts for 75% of retail digital payments volume in India. In March alone, it recorded 8.7 billion transactions worth 14.1 trillion, showed data from the NPCI. So low cost can boost small credit. Credit on UPI will enable anywhere, anytime credit. Anywhere, anytime payment was done before. Anywhere, anytime credit can also be done. Pre-sanctioned credit line would enable users to make purchase on credit. It will give banks flexibility to structure products similar to credit cards, lower cost, smaller size credit. Such kind of things will be provided. So applauding the move, the bankers, industry experts, they are quite happy with this kind of thing, because now the UPI will also be able to use the credit, not only the deposits but also the credit without even having the credit card. Okay, so I hope you have understood all the three news articles very well, all the three proposals very well. This is the first question and this is the second question that I hope that you will be easily able to answer. The UPI operation of pre-sanctioned credit lines at the UPI, this can be used in your descriptive answer writing. Okay, so thank you very much for today, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Telegram channel for the PDF of this session. If you have any query, you can mail us here or you can contact us through this number. Thank you very much everyone.